The Honourable Speaker, sir, Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers, the Leader of Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, my fellow Fijians present here today, and those who are watching this parliamentary session live. Nisambula Vinak. Honourable Speaker, sir, I rise to provide my response and support to the 2023-2024 budget. I also wish to join previous speakers in congratulating and thanking the Honourable Prime Minister for his vision and leadership. I also wish to thank the Honourable Minister for Finance and Strategic Planning for the very well consulted and prepared budget. Honourable Speaker, sir, I would like to extend my deepest sympathy for the loss of Wilimoni Tikoi, originally from Nassau, in Wanyambuka, a fellow officer who had been serving at the Winisea Agriculture Station, and also Chovesa Turangsau Rawade, originally from Nakaukawa in Wainunu, who had served at the Ndari Agriculture Station. To Ms. Tikoi and Ms. Turangsau and your families, we send our deepest condolences. Honourable Speaker, sir, this is the budget for the new Fiji. The budget for rebuilding our future together, a budget that will provide relief to many, a budget that will meet the needs to the rural population, a budget that will provide opportunities to our younger generation, and a budget that will impact the lives of our fellow Fijians. This budget will once again promote our reliance on agriculture, not only for income generation, but also as a source of livelihood, contributing to our national economy. Honourable Speaker, sir, I had received a lot of very positive comments on the budget that is before us. Comments from farmers, comments from market vendors, comments from exporters, comments from agro input suppliers, the general public, and especially the rural communities. They are very confident with the budget, and they are committed to the ministry in reviving the agriculture sector. Honourable Speaker, sir, I wish to record at this point in time that in the last 6 months of this year, I had spent the bulk of my time in consultation with stakeholders and concerned groups on how the agriculture sector can be taken back on track. Most rural farmers believe that they have been deprived from required support from government to maximize their benefits from agriculture. This has been the reason for the low growth in the agriculture sector. I also wish to make known that in previous years, most of the funding of the Ministry of Agriculture may have been targeted to areas that has not really made impacts to the growth of the agriculture sector. This includes, but not limited to, initiatives that are sustainable and can meet domestic demands, hotel, agro-processing, and export markets. The impact of climate change in agriculture production had not been evaluated well in the past. Honourable Speaker, sir, I am very happy to assure you that the Ministry of Agriculture will be rolling out programs that will counter the effect of climate change. The Ministry of Agriculture's direction in Fiji was guided by the 2019-2022 Strategic Development Plan. Because of the inability to align well to the SDP, performance of the agriculture sector has been very badly affected. Let me draw our attention to areas which we will be assisting in our next budget. In dairy, Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji still imports around $99 million worth of dairy products. The annual demand for liquid milk is 24 million liters, and we are producing only 29% of the milk in the formal sector. Moreover, this is worsened by the poor genetics, old infrastructure, poor hygiene and nutrition in our dairy farms. This is a disaster, and the dairy industry is in the verge of collapse. But we have started reviving the entire dairy industry, and the ministry has put aside 5.5 million to the dairy program, which is the highest budget ever allocated for the dairy industry. Honorable Speaker, sir, there is a budget of 800,000 for milk price initiative, a top-up of 18 cents for every litre produced by all registered dairy farmers in Fiji. This is a relief, but far from solving the rise of production costs. The farm gate price for milk was not formulated by the consultant when the review of the restructure of the dairy industry was done more than 12 years back. The work was done and it hasn't been completed. A budget has an allocation of 2 million for the importation of genetic material for the dairy sector, which will have a significant impact to the dairy industry. This is a very crucial intervention for the industry that had suffered badly from the losses of good breeds of cattle due to bovine tuberculosis and brucellosis re-emergence in 2014. Honorable Speaker, sir, apart from ongoing works, the government will be assisting farmers with supply of supplementary feed on 1/3 to the basis. Under the Dairy Extension Program, activities such as improvement to dairy access farm roads and milking sheds, improvement in smallholder farms development, will motivate the farmers to increase their milk production. Honorable Speaker, sir, the current budget will assist the ministry in commitments to supporting the provisions of service that will control zoonotic diseases in Fiji. Tuberculosis and brucellosis has significantly contributed to the low production of the beef and the dairy sector. A 1.6 million support program had been provided to the ongoing tuberculosis BTEC program. The ministry will also maintain active surveillance on other zoonotic diseases. This allocation has been revised based on last year's allocation. Honorable Speaker, sir, to make matters worse, last year 16 positions of the brucellosis eradication campaign project was not filled and are still vacant despite provision of funds. This has caused major delays in testing coverage. Today, the ministry is already working on the procedures of recruiting project staff. Disease surveillance will continue very shortly in the livestock sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, based on our studies with international financial cooperation, the tourism industry consumes major amount of imported beef. We will be investing 1 million to develop and maintain good cattle breeds. These are the high-producing, climate-resistant breeds. The program includes construction of facilities that will enable us to adopt modern breeding technologies. The initiative of sheep and goats for commercial agriculture has less impact on the industry due to the criteria used for beneficiaries by the former government. Breeding programs will develop the nuclear herds which will be used in the sheep and goat breeding program. Offsprings with good genetics, with good genetic trait will be supplied to farmers. The ministry will vigorously carry out necessary studies to improve herd performances. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is noted that in the last few years, there is a huge shortage of veterinarians in Fiji to address animal health issues. Currently, there is only one registered veterinarian out of the 5 available positions in the Ministry of Agriculture. Further to the above, the source of veterinarian practitioners who can be registered to practice in Fiji are limited to the recognized universities around the world. A provision of $50,000 in the next financial year will allow the ministry to engage with a consultant who will set the qualifier exams for veterinarians from other universities so that they can be registered to practice in Fiji. It is anticipated that the shortage of veterinarians will be addressed through this program. A total of $100,000 has been allocated to the product development of ginger paste, fruit juice concentrate, and other local indigenous fruits. The program will continue to provide training on value-added products from local agricultural commodities to various women and youth groups. This will support what the Honourable Minister for Agriculture and Waterways had mentioned regarding agro-processing to address seasonality of commodities. Mr. Speaker, the lack of coordination of the Ministry of Agriculture with other organizations like FNU, University of the South Pacific, and the FNU School of Agriculture in Corribia had been noted with grave concern. There have been courses that are offered at the Corribia campus with very minimum consultation as to the relevance of the course in the agriculture sector. The Ministry has already initiated proper consultation process. There will be a close consultation with academic institutions like the University of the South Pacific, FNU, University of Fiji, and other institutions around the region to address needs from the different agriculture sectors. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Agriculture and Waterways is a highly technical and a scientific field of work. It requires personnel with specialized training, both in academic and in their capacity to be competent in their work. Unfortunately, bad and wrong decisions in the last years have been one of the main reasons that most staff and personnel of scarce skills resources have been drained. Today, the ministry is left with no plant pathologist, no veterinary pathologist, no entomologist, no animal nutritionist, no surveyors, only one veterinary officer and one engineer. The ministry will be addressing a brain drain through revisions of policies and proper remuneration of staff. Mr. Speaker, the ministry will continue to build strong momentum to strengthen and expanding agricultural production through development of product standards, access to planting material and seeds, increased private sector engagement with strengthening industry approach and dialogues, and organized farmers group through cooperative registration. Honourable Speaker, sir, I also wish to thank Honourable Tunabuna for commenting to Ministry of Health on concerns on allocated funding to address NCDs in Fiji. I wish to ensure you, sir, that the Ministry of Agriculture is committed to producing healthy and nutritious food for our nation. The ministry is going to roll out programs that will address over-reliance on cheap imported food and be dependent on local foods to reduce NCDs to our population. The ministry notes with concern urbanization in this age and time, as raised by Honourable Neval. The budget for New Fiji will support youth and women in agriculture, and it will initiate programs that promote high-value crops for export markets. I am confident that our ministry are allocated with funding that will reverse urbanization, especially communities in Bonolia and Tawil. Waterways division has been neglected and ignored in the past years. They have lost all their surveyors, they have lost their engineers. Programs have been given less priorities. They work in very difficult working conditions. The local and farmers communities need them. Their work is important to all of us. I thank them for the hard work they have been doing, and I thank the Honourable Minister of Finance for the support given to them. Mr. Speaker, the Waterways Division is mandated to safeguard our food security system, housing and rural economy, and ecosystem through a resilient and effective national waterways program. The demand for the other services is no longer focused only on the two main islands, but also expanded to the rural and maritime islands communities. Mr. Speaker, more than 22 million is allocated for the Waterways Division to deliver its service. approximately 73% of the allocated amount will be spent on a number of capital projects. Our major concern today is delivering our mandate in this climate change era. The change in climate has increased the frequency and intensity of disasters affecting our ability to maintain steady growth in the agriculture sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, these impacts contribute to the Fiji's flash flooding, heavy silted waterways, and coastal and riverbank erosion. In this budget, the Ministry is allocated with 200,000 to undertake surveying and mapping of 4 main rivers in Viti Levu, which will be the initial work required to develop a 20-year national waterway program that addresses silt deposits into our major rivers. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is understood that dredging is important. However, the Ministry is committed to addressing siltations through upstream sustainable land management practices. To address watershed problems in Batown and low-lying areas, the watershed management programs has been allocated money for the construction of Ngali Nimbulu retention dam in the upper catchment of the Mba River. This is designed and intended to control peak flow and reduce flooding at the surrounding catchment. Mr. Speaker, sir, the dredging of major rivers and creeks is a program designed for flood mitigation purposes. 3 million has been allocated for works in the major rivers and creeks that are prone to flooding. Dredging of river creeks is an essential program that will help mitigate this flooding and the impact in the agricultural production. Mr. Speaker, sir, the removal of the dredging board in 2018 saw a severe backlog in the maintenance of existing drainage schemes affecting sugar and non-sugar crops. The allocation of 200,000 will assist in planning and preparatory work required for the reinstatement of the drainage board. Mr. Speaker, sir, flooding worsened by poor managed drains contribute to higher economic loss during floods. The Ministry has allocated more than 5 million to address the growing needs of flooding through the maintenance of drainage system for the non-municipal areas, drainage for farmlands, and drainage for rural residence areas. Mr. Speaker, sir, unregulated and unsustainable land use practices continue to increase siltation and sediments on our waterways. A substantial amount of 3.8 million has been allocated for drainage of flood-protected and flood-protected program. This work can never be overstressed, for it has been a problem area in the past. Mr. Speaker, sir, as alluded by the Honourable Minister for Agriculture and Waterways in his budget response, we have the potential to improve local rice production. An allocation of 800,000 will enable the Ministry to provide the necessary support services for rice production through the maintenance of 6 existing irrigation schemes in Bua, Baduata, in the Northern Division, and now in the Central Division, ensuring irrigation infrastructure are operational and water is available to farmers all year round. All these moments, the potential of these schemes is yet to be realized. Mr. Speaker, sir, sea level rise has long been a threat to the coastal communities. Sea level rise has further ripple effect to coastal erosion, saltwater intrusion, and inundation affecting the communities, land, and freshwater aquifer. To address the issue, 1.5 million has been allocated to construct seawalls such as nature-based solution seawalls that will reduce communities' exposure to coastal erosion and high wave actions during storm surges. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition, a total of 50,000 has been allocated for the preparatory work for the coastal protection work for Nasilai Village in Viti Levu. Mr. Speaker, sir, drought is a slow onset disaster, but serious consideration and disaster not seriously considered and addressed in the past. The irrigation support on farm development in a program designed to increase the resistance of farmers for drought through provision of micro irrigation systems to allow them for them to better manage water. Selected farmers will be supplied with basic irrigation kits. Mr. Speaker, sir, the above programs are designed to support the government in the implementation of the national adaptation plans, the green growth framework for Fiji, through recognizing the need to have resilient infrastructure to improve livelihood and in doing so reducing vulnerability and risk to climate change impact. Mr. Speaker, sir, within the ministry, information gathering is an exercise that is regularly undertaken through surveys of our extension staff and statistic unit team. A total of 200,000 has been allocated for collection of agriculture data. This will help policy formulation of the Ministry of Agriculture and Waterways. The Ministry of Agriculture will maintain a forward focus in leading the agriculture transformation agenda beyond incremental growth. We recognize the support and effort and the contribution of the sectors, contribution to the sector by women and youth. I wish to thank staff of the Ministry of Agriculture and Waterways for the hard work that they have all been doing and braving the situation in the past few years. I send my best wishes to many who lost their jobs due to the nature of the policies of the last government, and I encourage you to continue your support for the growth and the development of the agriculture sector. With those few words, Honourable Speaker, sir, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to provide my response, and I fully support the 2023-2024 budget. Now, please.
Thank you.